Chapter 24. It is appropriate to mention again the fact that there is among Earth's population those who have volunteered to pause in their personal evolvement process and place their progress in jeopardy. This has been purposefully done to assist Earth's inhabitants to make the long overdue transition out of isolation and back into greater evolvement and involvement with their galactic brothers, sisters, and cousins. These have assumed the same bodies with the same random genetic physical expressions that each conscious awareness on Earth assumes at birth. Their motivations for doing this are as varied as the experiences that allowed them their personal evolvement. In general, it may be assumed that the benefits to Earth and her inhabitants was considered worth the risk of the loss of their progress should the opportunity again be rejected. If Earth's inhabitants choose to remain stuck in their current pattern of experience, these beings will remain within that destiny. The risk is also a great motivator. There are two reasons for these messages. The first is to awaken the volunteers and answer invocations for help. The second is to provide the focus for the birth of this new paradigm of human experience for which these evolved beings were willing to take such great risk. It is for you to know that successful deeds of valor do not go without reward. It is not at all egotistical for each one that reads this material to give careful consideration as to whether or not they are one of the visiting volunteers. To ponder this possibility is wise indeed. Knowingness within will govern awareness of the truth of this possibility and allow consideration of the risk of ignoring it insofar as what that could mean in the larger picture. Whether or not this is a person's truth, to aid in offering the opportunity for humanity to change its future and return to its rightful place within the creative flow of evolvement, is reason enough to volunteer now as a member of the ground crew. Creative thought is not limited to any one group, but is inherent within all self-aware consciousness. It is called becoming. Certainly the volunteers do not place their earned progress in jeopardy to simply acknowledge it. They volunteer to assist their fellow humans to move beyond this present mode of experience. Each brings their special successful experiencing techniques as a contribution to the birth and launching of the new paradigm of experience. The logical way to help humanity to conceive of this new mode of experience is to participate within the present one so that it can be understood. In the midst of the chaos of imbalance, all volunteers have the ability to purposefully remember aspects of recent balanced experience and give guidance with regard to these aspects in the conception of the purpose and outline for the new experience desired by Earth's inhabitants. These first volunteers are one part of the answer to the prayers and supplications for help that have been focused to God. The new volunteers attracted to this process and joining with equal commitment are the return flow of invested energy, reflecting the exchange that is the dynamic operative quality of creation. It is the law of attraction in action. As the law of intentional creation, through the two steps of birthing the new paradigm, is added to the attraction process, vibratory intensity increases and transformation toward manifestation into perceivable reality begins. It is necessary for all volunteers to consider, contemplate, and decide to accept the truth of who and what each one is and then move on into the fuller completion of each assigned segment. The first step is to spread the knowledge of the opportunity to create a new paradigm of experience, keeping the concept simple, simple, simple. Gently inform and encourage many to change their consciousness from victim to victor through the knowledge that thought has the power to change manifested creation. Creation expresses in all experience, situations, and circumstances as well as things. Each thought, word, and deed through attitudes and beliefs structures everyone's experience. Each person every day is surrounded with many opportunities to offer a different perspective or a word of encouragement that assists the knowledge and understanding of this basic concept. This is planting the seeds for changes in the mass consciousness. This may seem a small way to begin this extraordinary change, but once begun in this people-to-people manner it will build at an exponential rate. Many are ready and waiting to respond positively now to carry and spread the change. These will be receptive because the present mode of life expression just doesn't seem right, but no ideas resonate within them for what to do about this knowingness. There is only a sense of being overwhelmed by the immensity of their situation and the presence of these discordant inner feelings. These moments are the opportunities to begin to walk the path of your impending new future. Plant seeds at every opportunity. As you do, you will attract more opportunities to do so. Now is the sequential moment to stand in the reality of who and what you are and begin to experience the reason for being in this body on this planet at this moment. The alarm clock is ringing. It is time to wake up and begin living in the joy of creating the new future. Chapter 25. It is well known among the people on the planet that the time of chaos that has long been predicted appears to be manifesting into reality. These predictions were purposefully implanted in some of the religious teachings. However, the indigenous tribes long ago taught similar predictions clearly defining this time frame. That appears to make both coincide. The difference is that some of these predictions were promulgated for a purpose and those of the indigenous people are genuine prophecies. Their prophecies contain identifiable time frame predictions. The Mayan calendar, for example, calculates/prophesying the end of the current 26,000-year cycle as ending on December 12, 2012, while those of deliberate intent to induce fear assured those that hear them the exact time cannot be known. This enables them to use various sets of conditions as indications of their possible manifestation and through the years to manipulate the believers over and over again. American Indian prophecies tell of a time of chaos to be followed by the time of the Rainbow Man. Zuni Indian art contains depictions of a rainbow man in anticipation of that future event. It is the purpose of these messages to bring that prophecy to fruition. That which has been and is judged as pagan often contains portions of truth when the analogies are understood through wisdom. There is no one perfect way to truth for all of mankind, for each must create his or her own path. This does not indicate that wisdom through knowledge applied is not available within a group approach, as long as the focus is open and searching. When a group focus becomes locked in rigid dogma, it becomes a whirlpool and not a flow within the expansive creative focus. It is to be remembered that other than the universal laws, what appears to be absolutely true often must be transcended as the knowledge experienced becomes wisdom. At that point, new applicable knowledge becomes available to experience into wisdom, and the old concepts no longer apply. The first time this is experienced in a lifetime, it can be traumatic. The individual is faced with the decision of whether to stay with what has brought him/her to the familiar point of understanding and remain in the whirlpool or let go and move on in the process of evolvement. Many of those who have sincerely searched in this lifetime have often experienced wisdom gained, followed by boredom, and soon begin new quests for knowledge. Those who have grown from early childhood into maturity within the indoctrination of a single religious focus may find opening to a wider perspective through these messages as emancipation or find themselves in shocked dismay. Each who allow time to ponder both points of view in their hearts will come to a knowing of what is true for them and act accordingly. It is hoped that those of both points of view will practice allowance. It is certainly to be practiced by the volunteers. All are humans becoming. Help us to become. The vision of the Rainbow Man and the anticipation of his coming can be interpreted two ways. Those of the Christian viewpoint could assume it means the return of J'Emmanuel, Jesus, or it could indicate the advent of a wiser and emancipated human population on Earth. Certainly it will require a wiser group to bring forth the new paradigm of human experience, thus the prophecy would seem quite clear. However, it could also indicate both as true. It would require an open-minded and far less aggressive human focus for J'Emmanuel to walk again among his human brothers and sisters in safety. The distortions of his teachings would make it impossible for those indoctrinated in the current beliefs to recognize and accept him for who and what he is because of their current understandings and expectations. The picture of the Rainbow Man/woman is an easy visualization to hold in mind for a depiction of the anticipated personal experience within the new paradigm. It is important that meaningful symbology be adopted in order that the new paradigm become real in the minds of those who desire this transcendence process to become a reality. It could represent the consciousness change from victim to victor through attitude and thought adjustment and a resting point in the midst of the confusion of change. This transition in how life is experienced will not come about without bringing about some internal chaos within personal experience. This will be preparation for that which will manifest on a larger scale as this concept takes root and grows within the mass consciousness, for it is a reversal in the direction of the journey of mankind. It might be compared to walking down a long flight of stairs with a large group of people, changing your mind halfway down, turning around and going back up through them. When enough people also change their minds and start going back up, it won't be as difficult. However, for the ground crew, who are the first to begin this process, it will take purposeful intent with resolve to accomplish this feat. Picturing this process in the mind's eye allows for the understanding that volunteering for this mission requires much dedicated involvement to plan, organize, and arrive at the picnic for rainbow people. As you listen to the media presentations, the theme of resistance to perceived wrongdoers and evil manifestations of disease, etc., for example, is spelled out as the war on poverty, the war on drugs, or the war on. It is amazing to observers that citizens have not realized that there is yet to be one stance against that has produced effective results. It does, however, provide a way to extort your money out of your pockets directly and from your national treasury. Among your common sayings are many truisms. What you resist persists. It is encouraged that the volunteers observe this truism at work within their personal and the national experience. It is preparation for a basic consciousness transition. End chapter 25.